What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a movie that was just recently released on VOD that I've actually been really excited to check out because it stars Rachel Sennott, who I am a huge fan of. I think that she's an incredibly talented actress, and I've really enjoyed the films Shiva Baby and Bottoms that she was in. Both movies were made by the same director, and I think both movies are incredible, and a lot of that is due to her fantastic performance. And I think in Shiva Baby, she does a really great job being really ridiculously comedic while also providing really great dramatic moments. And Bottoms was much more of a straightforward comedy, but I've really enjoyed her performances. And when I saw this movie was coming out and that it seemed like it was going to have a little bit more of a dramatic tone to it, I was really interested to see what she would do with her performance here. And the movie I'm going to be discussing with you today is I Used to Be Funny. I Used to Be Funny is directed by Ally Pankiw. Sam is a stand-up comedian and au pair struggling with PTSD who is weighing whether or not to join the search for Brooke, a missing girl she used to nanny. So I was really excited to watch this movie. As I said, I'm a huge fan of Rachel Sennott, and so I was really looking forward to it for that very reason. And I really loved this movie a lot. Actually, after reading a lot of the Letterboxd reviews and seeing how polarizing this movie is and how many negative reviews it's received, I'm kind of shocked because I think the movie has really great comedic moments, but it has a very genuine core. And I could see some moments, being difficult for people to resonate with completely because of how much the tone fluctuates. But I think for the subject matter of the film and the way that the director is trying to grapple with a lot of it, it's handled in probably the most delicate way it could be. And I'm really excited to talk about this movie with you today as a whole. So at the beginning of the film, we are introduced to Sam, played by Rachel Sennott, and we see her living in this house with her two roommates, and she's isolated and she spends a lot of time by herself. And we learn through events early on that she was a stand up comedian who was actually relatively popular on YouTube, and people really liked watching her sets. They thought she was really talented. And through a certain set of circumstances that we're not 100% sure as to why, she has quit doing stand up comedy and she has developed really intense anxiety and depression and is having a really tough time just getting through the day to day and existing as a person. And throughout the film, we're getting her in present day while also cutting back to a series of events surrounding this girl, Brooke, who we find out is missing. And we come to find out very early on in the film that Sam was Brooke's nanny. And Brooke's dad was a police officer who his wife had gotten very sick and he was not able to take care of his daughter in the way that he wanted to. And his sister, the Brooke's aunt, was really involved, but she also had a child of her own and had a hard time kind of watching her all the time. And so Sam takes this job watching Brooke. And so the entirety of the film is us cutting between these various timelines in Sam's life to learn what got her to this point, what is causing her to struggle so much, and why it's so difficult for her to get back on stage and pursue this thing that she loves so much. So as I said, I really liked this movie a lot, and I'm honestly kind of surprised to how many polarizing reviews there are for this movie. I feel like it does a really fantastic job at executing its subject matter in a way that can resonate with pretty much anyone. And I think it all starts with Rachel Sennett's brilliant performance here. I think that it calls for a lot. A lot of people that are going to watch this movie are going to think that they're getting into a straight comedy, and that is not the case whatsoever. This movie is very dramatic in a way that is shocking in moments. I wasn't really expecting the direction that it was going to go in, but because of her performance and how dedicated she is to this character, it's really easy to stay invested in the movie because she's just so fantastic. There were some dramatic moments in this movie that required a lot of her as an actress that I was just really impressed with how well she was able to just kind of go up and down, kind of like a roller coaster in her performance, and just have very high highs and very low lows. And it takes really special actors to be able to make a movie that you can kind of fluctuate between all of those different emotions in this hour and 40-minute span of a film. And I just think that she was absolutely fantastic in the movie. I really enjoyed the surrounding cast as well. I really liked her two roommates. I thought the actress that played the young girl, Brooke, did a really nice job. And it creates a dynamic between characters that it's very easy to immerse yourself into. I saw some people have complaints about the editing and the cinematography in this film, and it's a little rough around the edges in moments. It's an independent film, but honestly, I think a lot of the handheld camera work makes the movie feel incredibly grounded and kind of adds to that sense of just unease that the movie has. There's this overwhelming sense of insecurity in our lead character because of the experiences that she has had. And I think that having that grounded camera work where it's very up close and personal with characters, how there's a lot of handheld moments with the camera, it really makes it unsettling for you as the viewer as well. And I think that was clearly the intention and the purpose behind it. As I said, this movie covers a wide array of subject matter, and I don't want to dive too heavily into it because I don't want to spoil this movie for anyone who hasn't seen it, but it has a very dark edge. And I talked about reading a lot of negative reviews for this movie, and I think a lot of that is due to people going into this thinking that the intention was going to be a comedy when it's a person whose life was so embedded in comedy that has had something so terrible and horrendous happen that that ability to want to make people laugh and to want to bring joy to others is stripped away because your joy has also been stripped away from you. And there are comedic moments between friends, and what I really liked is in the comedic moments, in the moments of levity throughout the film, there was this very natural feeling to it. It never felt forced. It never felt like someone just trying to get a cheap Hollywood joke in on you. It felt like a group of friends who were just trying to make their friend feel better after a very traumatic circumstance. And I think some of the shifts in the movie can be really harsh. Like it can go in a direction and get there relatively quickly, which might have caught people off guard. But I've watched so many movies before. I kind of yearn for films that are willing to take risks. And this movie takes a lot of risks. It really does. To drastically shift in tone so many times throughout a film can be daunting for a director or actors involved. But I think that this is approached in a way that is very relatable and that speaks volumes to a lot of issues that are very prevalent in our society, especially surrounding women and the expectations on women and the mistreatment of women, and women pursuing different career paths and creative career paths. And there's all these really interesting ideas that the director puts in front of you here and showcases in a way that feels very vulnerable and feels very real, and it doesn't feel hokey or forced. And I really appreciated that a lot. And there's a couple of moments and confrontations in this film that didn't work as well for me as other moments, but I think as a whole the movie is incredibly impactful, and I really loved the third act in this movie, specifically the last 10 minutes. I just thought was really fantastic in the way that it was framed. I really enjoyed the music choices throughout the movie, and you can really tell that this director wanted to convey something truly powerful with this film, and it worked really well for me. And I know it hasn't worked for a lot of people, but I was honestly kind of surprised. Like I said, I think this movie has a very genuine heart. I think Rachel Sennett's performance is really fantastic, and I think if any of this sounds interesting to you, it's 100% worth checking out. So have you seen I Used to Be Funny? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was really great. I didn't know what to expect from it, and I was pleasantly surprised. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.